Okay, so have you ever heard of an artist who can, like, do it all?
I mean, depends what you mean by all.
I don't know. But we're talking author, musician, artist, and occultist, all wrapped up in one person.
Oh, wow. Okay, now you got my attention.
Uh-huh.
Who is this, like, Renaissance person?
Ewell J. Juliana, and get this, he's also a social worker.
Seriously.
Oh,
That's that's quite the resume. I'm intrigued, but I have to say, it's a pretty unusual combo.
right. That's what caught our eye, too. Like, how do all those things even fit together in one life?
It definitely makes you wonder about the connections, right? Like,
Yeah.
are they separate passions or do they feed into each other somehow?
Exactly. And maybe it's not even a conscious thing, just this drive to explore, to express himself in all these different ways.
Yeah, maybe. And when you factor in that he was born in Curaçao but now works in the Netherlands, well, that adds another layer, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. Like, how much of his background, his culture is woven into his work? That's what I'm dying to know.
It's funny you say that because when I was looking through the sources, I noticed they keep emphasizing cultural identity as a major theme for him.
Really? So even if they don't spell it out, it's clearly important to how he sees himself and his art.
Exactly. And that makes me even more curious to unpack it, because what does that actually look like in his work?
Well, and that's where it gets really interesting, because on top of everything else, he founded these two initiatives with the most intriguing names.
Oh, like,
Right.
give me a teaser here.
Okay, you ready for this? The Internal Black Star and the Art of Mystification.
Whoa. Okay, you weren't kidding about intriguing. Those are some seriously loaded phrases.
Right. Let's start with the Internal Black Star. What does that bring to mind for you?
Hmm. Well, right off the bat, it makes me think about hidden potential. Like that spark of something powerful and unknown inside each of us.
Ooh, I like that.
And it seems to connect to this idea of personal transformation, like discovering and nurturing that inner strength.
Which makes sense, considering he's also doing social work. It's like he's approaching personal growth from all angles.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Okay,
But
good.
you can't just drop the art of mystification and not elaborate. That one's really grabbing my attention.
Oh, believe me, we're going to delve into that. But first, we need to unpack what we know about Juliana's background and those intriguing initiative names. All right, so before the break, we were starting to unpack this whole art of mystification thing, and you mentioned symbolism. Like, that's a pretty big deal in his work.
Yeah, the sources kept hammering that home. Symbolism is key-wide to understanding what he's doing, apparently.
Okay, see, now you're just teasing me, because they never actually analyze any of the symbols themselves.
Nope, not a single specific example. It's like they're trying to be Juliana, keeping all the secrets under wraps.
Frustrating. All right, so we've got this mystery wrapped in an enigma, dipped in symbolism we can't even see. But there's got to be something else in those sources, some clue about where he's coming from with this, right?
Yeah.
What else did you find?
Okay, there's this one bit I think might be relevant. The sources mention that Juliana is really into occultism and esoteric traditions. Like, that's a big part of his deal.
Hold on, time out. For those of us who don't spend our weekends deciphering ancient grimoires, can we get a quick translation on that? What are we even talking about here?
Right, good point. Okay, so occultism is a really broad term, but basically it's about exploring the hidden knowledge of the universe. Things that are like beyond the everyday, the stuff we can explain with science. Mysteries, magic, that kind of vibe.
Okay, I'm following so far.
And then esoteric traditions. Those are more like specific systems of belief and practice, often with their own rituals, symbols, ways of tapping into that hidden knowledge.
Got it. So less about just thinking about mysteries, more about actively trying to work with them.
Right. Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting to think about Juliana. The sources don't say which age traditions he's into, but just the fact that he's drawn to this stuff.
Yeah.
It tells us he's not content with surface-level interpretations. He's looking for the deeper meaning behind everything.
So it's like he's not just making art, he's creating his own esoteric tradition. And maybe those missing symbols are the key to understanding it all.
That's what I'm thinking. And remember how we talked about his Curaçaoan heritage? What if that's woven into those symbols too?
Whoa, okay, so each symbol could be like a little window into his background, his culture, all mixed up with these broader esoteric ideas.
Right. He could be drawing on multiple layers of meaning, blending them all together.
This is giving me serious national treasure vibes, but instead of finding lost cities, we're decoding hidden symbols in art.
And we're only just scratching the surface here. We've got Juliana's background, his art, his social work, this whole art of mystification thing. And don't forget those initiatives. How does it all connect? That's what we need to figure out.
Okay, my brain is officially fried. We've been digging into this whole Ewell J. Juliana thing, and I gotta say, it's like the deeper we go, the more layers we uncover.
Right. It's like he's intentionally leaving a trail of breadcrumbs, but we're not sure what map we're supposed to be following.
Exactly. So how do we even begin to make sense of it all? We've got his background, his art, the occultism, the social work. It's a lot, T.
Well, maybe instead of trying to find one answer, we should be looking for the threads that connect it all. Because even without concrete examples, I think there are some key takeaways from Juliana's work.
Okay, I'm listening. Hit me with those takeaways.
So first, there's this recurring theme of self-discovery. Like, he's not just trying to create beautiful things. He's trying to spark something in the viewer, in the listener.
Right. It's that whole look within message that we keep coming back to. And it's interesting because that connects to his social work too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's like he sees those two things, art and social work, as two sides of the same coin, both helping people access their full potential, just in different ways.
So maybe his art is a form of social work in a way. He's prompting us to go on our own journey of self-discovery.
Exactly. And that leads us to the second takeaway, the power of symbolism. We talk about how the sources wouldn't give us specific examples.
Don't remind me. It's driving me crazy.
I know, right?
Hmm.
But here's the thing. I don't think that's an accident. I think he wants us to feel a little lost, a little challenged, to figure it out for ourselves.
So it's like he's hidden these clues within his art, and it's our job to decipher them.
Precisely. And that brings us right back to his background, his culture. What if those missing symbols are the key to understanding how all of that fits in?
Okay, now my mind is really spinning. So each symbol could be a little piece of the puzzle, linking his personal history to these bigger esoteric ideas.
Exactly. Yeah. And maybe we're not supposed to have it all figured out. Maybe the journey is the destination.
I kind of love that. It's like he's saying, here's a bunch of cool stuff. Now you go make sense of it.
Right. And that brings us to our final takeaway, embracing the mystery.
Right.
Juliana is comfortable with ambiguity, with not having all the answers. And maybe that's something we could all use a little more of in our lives.
Especially in today's world, where everyone expects everything to be explained immediately. Sometimes it's okay to just sit with the mystery.
100%. And who knows, maybe in the process of searching, we'll discover something even more interesting about ourselves.
Ooh, I like that. A little food for thought to end our deep dive. Unfortunately, our time is up and we have to leave it there. No concrete answers for once, but hopefully a whole lot of inspiration to go out and do some exploring of our own.
Here. There's a whole universe of hidden knowledge out there just waiting to be uncovered.
And who knows, maybe we'll stumble upon some of Juliana's secrets along the way. That's all the time we have for today, folks, but thanks for joining us on this wild ride. Until next time, happy diving.